Hi everyone, this is your weekly update. I want to make sure that we can just jump right in. I like to make these videos as useful as possible. I want to look at the course content and sort of where we are at this moment. You're moving again toward your blending rhetorical modes essay. This is an essay that I've talked about repeatedly to this point. You've been building toward it with the 2.1 and the 2.1e and the 2.1. I'm going to just point to a couple of quick things here because I've had some questions to this point, and I want to make sure that I can help you to see what's available to you here. First off, anytime that you do an assignment in this class, make sure you look at the basic assignment description. That's going to contain a general overview of what is required. For example, in this case, you must have at least 5 paragraphs. It must be in a formal style. You need to build on what came before. You need to have 3 full pages. I've given you the analogy before. If you go to a biology class and you take your biology exam and you only do half the questions, you're not going to receive full credit. In this particular case, the requirement is for at least 3 full pages that have more than 5 paragraphs in total. If you don't have that, I can't give you full credit. So again, basic assignment description, look right there. And keep in mind, if you're on a computer, you can close these things if that's just too much information to look at. Also look at the rubric down here at the bottom. There's an image of the rubric, and then there's also the rubric itself. Make sure that you pay attention to the penalty for having fewer than 3 full pages, because that's listed out there too. As you can see, the rubrics keep building out. As we go further into the semester, you're required to do the exact same thing that you've been doing before. All these things are recursive. They keep building and putting more detail on there. So again, at least 5 full paragraphs. That's the same thing as the first essay. It needs to be formal. That's what you started practicing with the first essay. MLA formatting that we've covered at this point. That was part of the first essay as well. Now we're adding rhetorical modes, compare contrast patterns, narrative and descriptive patterns from the 2.0 materials. Coming back up here, I want to also draw your attention to under resources for this essay. These are direct links to pages inside the module. But for a sample essay, I've had a couple of students that have come along, and I guess it's a compliment. It is a compliment that said, "Hey, this fake essay here, this example essay is really great. It gave me everything I needed because I read through it and I realized, oh, okay, that's what I'm aiming for." This overshoots it a little because you have 4 full pages here, but it uses a very consistent pattern throughout the entire essay to make a choice about 2 different TV shows that are being presented. It has a clear conclusion. It's a very brief conclusion, which is, again, what I'm looking for. It has a clear direction with its introduction. Again, this is a model essay for you. It's a fake essay because no student wrote that. Actually, I wrote that as an example, so there you go. It's right there for you. Make sure you use the essay checklist in order to check that you're doing all the things that I want you to do. That's what that essay checklist is for, and you should be fine. I want to, like I told you last week in the announcement, encourage you to come to the Zoom sessions. If you come to the Zoom session, you can actually talk to an instructor. If you can't come to the one we made, for example, I can help to verify that you're on the right track. I don't do grammatical or spelling checks ahead of time. It turns me into an editing service. It's just not a good idea. We have the Writing Center for that, but I'm happy to look at your content and to give you plenty of feedback on your content. So come to the Zoom sessions, use your resources wisely. Okay, as of last week, you also have access to Module 3. I want to talk a little bit about Module 3 so you know what you're up against. First off, you're not going to get to Module 3 for just a little bit longer. You have a quiz that's due the week of fall break. I'm trying to give you something of a fall break, so I try to schedule it in this particular way. But moving into the 3rd module, we're going to get into more in-depth use of MLA formatting. For this particular essay and for the module in general, I hope what you've been doing to this point in the course, and jump straight to the essay, which is a critique. The critique asks you to look at one of the assigned articles. They're down here at the bottom. There's a link to each of them. So look at that assigned article and to critique it. And keep in mind, critiquing is not just, I didn't like this, and that's it, period. It's, I like this, I don't like this, and here are some things that the author might be able to work on. I'll show you a place you can find sort of step-by-step instructions inside of the module on how to do this, but pick one of those articles. So go ahead and spend maybe your fall break starting to look at these articles because they're going to form everything you're going to do inside the 3rd module. I'm not going to talk too much more through that essay right now. I'm just kind of giving you an overview of what you're up against going forward into this module. Your 2 assignments, though, your peer edit, of course, same thing. as 3.1. So 3.1 actually asks you to use quotes from your article. You're going to paraphrase and summarize, which again, like I said just a second ago, builds on what came before. You've just spent, or you're spending right now, your time editing your work for 2.2, which requires you to use some narrative and descriptive techniques. That's precisely what you're going to do here too, but you also have to use a quote, and you have to properly format that quote to MLA standards, which are covered inside the third module. So you need to use that content. Again, we're layering something else. Now you're using actual outside research for this. You're going to talk about that. Once we move beyond this point, when we get to the fourth and fifth module, you're going to be doing essentially nothing but research. Okay, and that research is going to be for your final capstone project. So this doesn't look like you have a lot of assignments, but those are major assignments that you're going to spend a lot of time doing research on. So practice here using quotes, because you will be extensively using quotes throughout the rest of the semester and going into English 112 as well. That's one of the things that your instructors and college expects you to do when you write a paper, is to quote from the material that you're using. All right, last thing I want to do is I want to point you to that pattern that I was talking about just a second ago. Of course, there's the sample critique essay as well. But if you're stuck and you want to go ahead and start thinking about the critique, right here, this is sort of a step-by-step set of instructions on how to go about performing a critique, an effective critique. You can use this if you feel confident about your ability to critique something without using these patterns. Feel free to do that as well. But I just wanted to make sure to point this out to you so that you can start thinking about it as we go forward. Okay, if you have any questions or if you need any help as you start to move through these assignments, let me know. I'm not going to send as long of an update next week. Again, it's fall break. I'm just going to send you maybe a little brief snippet, probably not even a video. But again, let me know, because I want you to start moving toward that third module and to be successful as we pass the midpoint of the semester. Okay, I will see you then, and we'll stay in touch if you have questions. Okay, see you.